To be said, I've been sharing a lot about poema, and that is what I work with my clients on. We work on, they come to me with their goals that they're wanting to reach, and maybe they've hit something that's holding them back. And so they come to me to help kind of guide them through, where are they, where are they slipping up, where are those stumbling blocks, all of those things. And so in that process, I help them to discover their poema. And so, poema is your masterpiece. I believe it is God given. I believe every single one of us, regardless if you believe in a greater creative being that has created you, I believe that you were created with a specific purpose, with a specific poema, and that's a masterpiece that's within you. And so, my job is to not only guide you in recognition and realization of those goals that you come to me with, but also I want you to find your poema, because what that poema is, it's forever that root, that foundation that you need, and the filter that you use throughout your life. So all that to be said, this friend of mine from high school was speaking this morning about capability and capacity. And I will have to disagree with a couple things he said, but first I want to talk about there's four things. First, we're going to talk about your ability. Every one of us has inherent abilities. Every one of us has inherent abilities or strengths. These are just those things that they just happen. We just do it. So everybody has abilities. I don't have the ability to draw and to paint like my husband does. I don't have that innate ability. I have an ability for creativity, which I express in different ways, but I don't have his ability to draw and to paint. But that is a strength. That's something that you inherently have inside of you. And I know you can probably point out to those things where you're like, yeah, that's inherent in me. That's my ability. So that's something that you have in you. That's a strength. That's inherent. And that is your first glimmer to what your poema is. The second thing is you have capability. So the capability is really something, a strength that you already have, an ability that can be developed or improved. Okay. So when you come to coaching, you might say something like, I've had gals come to me and say something like, um, I can communicate with my coworkers, but I have a hard time communicating with my manager. Okay, so let's build your strength on your communication with coworkers and drive up your capability of communication with, higher level management. Or somebody might come to me and say, I believe I have the ability to do this dream, this XYZ. So we find those strengths that inherently can feed into that ability. And then she might say something like, but I want it to go over here. And so that's the capability. That's the improvement or the development of that ability or of that strength or of that goal or that dream. Okay. The next thing is capacity. And so really this is what capacity is. So ability is something like I can run. Okay. That's an ability. I can run. A capacity is I have the capacity to run a 10-minute mile. Right? There's my capacity. It's a finite amount that I can do. However, I can also say I have the capability to run faster. I have the capability to run faster. So you see how all of those work? I have the ability to run. I have the capacity in my mind to only run a 10-minute mile. But I have the capability to draw on that and to improve on that and to run a faster mile. But here's the thing that I think so many people miss out on is the courage. And that's the harnessing of your poema. That's why I work so hard. I'm going to move this off my screen. That's why I work so hard with my clients to discover your values, your strengths, and to create a life poema statement that gives you the courage. So I can run. I've got that ability. I have the capacity to run a 10-minute mile. See how that's a limiting thought? Well, this is my capacity. This is where I'm at. I have the capability. See, I'm breaking out of that limiting thinking. I have the capability to run faster. I could do a 9:45 mile. So that's how my growth mindset is starting to go. But sometimes that growth mindset feels like it's at capacity. I can only think so positive, Piper. I can only push so much harder. And that's where courage comes in. And I think that's a fourth step that is so very, very important, that when we recognize our abilities, our capacities, and our capabilities, sometimes we can just feel like overwhelmed and burdened. Are you feeling that way? Especially right now with a pandemic, it's like, okay, I've been trying to be positive, Piper. I've been trying to expand my network. I've been trying to find a job. I'm trying to work on personal development, but I'm just at capacity. And that's when you need to harness courage. That's when you need to harness courage. That is your poema. So that is when you feel like I am absolutely at capacity. So I cannot run a 4-minute mile, right? That's my capacity thinking. Now, can I in real life? No. My physical abilities are tapped out. There's no way I can run a 4-minute mile. But courage comes in and says to you, I might not be able to physically run a 4-minute mile because that's at my capacity. I might not be able to physically do X, Y, and Z, but I have the courage to explore what else I can do. I have the courage to continue on. And that is what is so very important when you are discovering and recognizing your abilities and your strengths, and saying, I am so capable. I know I can improve and I can develop and I can become better. And then when you hit that point of capacity and you think, I just can't do anymore, that's when you harness courage, which is your poema. And the reason why determining and finding your purpose, and I know a lot of people say, um, I don't have a life's purpose, or they feel like, finding a life's purpose, that there's just no such thing. I've read so much research on people finding a purpose, finding their why. And a lot of people say there's no such thing. We don't have a purpose. And what's really interesting about the research that I've read is the people that believe they have a purpose, it's usually faith driven. And I do believe my purpose it's from God, and that's why I pursue it with all of my might. But I also know people that don't, people I'm really great friends with, that don't have the same faith perspective that I have, but there's something inside of them. And they hate it when I say, that's God's poema in you. They hate it when I say it to them because they don't have the same belief systems, but they have something inside of them that tells them, okay, I can improve. I can become better. I can keep going. And at some point, they might hit capacity. They might hit that wall and it might hurt. But there's something else that pushes them forward and says, but I'm going to keep going. But I know there's something more. But I know this is in my heart to do. But there's something that keeps driving them forward. And that's their courage. That's their poema. And that's what I want you to find in your life, is that we are all running into, all of us, and I hope you guys can still hear me. Hopefully these are working. But we all have abilities. We all have strengths that are inherent to us. And you have the choice to build up on those. You have the capability to encourage those along. And as you're in that process, whatever you're going for, whether it's a new career, it's managing kids at home and teaching school, whatever it is, you have the capability to keep on going. You teach your kids this, right? Wow, even the bugs are loud today. You have the capability to even encourage your kids along. We teach our kids, right? Yes, you can try, you can keep developing, you can keep improving. We say that to our kids. And then we see it with our kids, don't we? And we hear it within ourselves. We're like, I just can't go any further. I'm at capacity. I can't do it anymore. But then we know those people. We know those people. We've read those stories that they say, but hold on. I may be at my capacity, but there's something else. And I'm going to take courage in it. And I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep moving forward. And that's the thing. Ability, capability, capacity. Yes, we all have those things. We all have those abilities. We have all of those inherent strengths in us. But we also have to harness courage. We have to harness courage to keep pursuing. And I talked about that a lot in like last week, that there's a difference between positivity and optimism. But with the positivity and the optimism, it is having that courage, having something deeper than just your strengths. There's something deeper that drives you forward, something so much deeper. And that is the courage. That is your poema. That is what I work so hard with the women I coach to move toward. And here's the thing. The reason why I say courage is that fourth step: ability, capability, capacity, courage. Courage is that fourth step, because when you have decided to break beyond capacity, when you have decided that, no, I'm going to keep moving forward, it takes courage, because it's hard and it's exhausting and you feel like you're a crazy person for continuing to pursue things. It's vulnerable. It's uncomfortable. In fact, I had a session last night with a client, and she's new to me. It was only our second session, and it was very hard on her. It was very hard. So that was my child calling me, who's inside. I ignored that. But with this client, she really had a tough session. And because I'm still getting to know her, there were some tears involved. And I said, okay, how are you feeling? Like, I don't want to get off our call. I want to make sure that you have some steps to put what you've learned into action. How are you? Because I'm still getting to know her. I'm still making sure, we're okay here. And so I'm sorry, my son. And so what we were talking about that. She said, no, this was, I needed this, and I'm working through this. And I said, okay, so what are the steps? You've had an insight. You have to put it into action, or otherwise it's just an insight. You've just opened a door, but if you don't walk through it, taking that action with that insight, walking through it, you're just going to be shutting that door. And that's what we talked about. And that is courage. That is courage of saying, okay, I have the ability. I've gone through this. I can improve on this. I feel like I'm at capacity, but I'm going to walk through that door. And that is the courage aspect. So today I want you to consider that when you're faced with with something where you feel like, I am at capacity, I can't do this any longer. I want you to harness courage. And when you feel like you can't harness courage, that's when you come talk to me. That's when we work through these things, and I give you the tools to help you to break past capacity, to give you the courage, to help you identify your purpose. And I'm telling you, the research says the people that find their purpose in life, and it doesn't have to be this grandiose mountain that determines your purpose. If you can find your purpose, that's what gives you capacity. And I believe you have a purpose. And all the research shows the people that find their purpose, no matter how grand or how small, it's completely up to you. Those are the people that are able to harness courage and their poema and break through capacity. So I hope you've enjoyed it this morning. My son is calling me. I need to finish my smoothie and get ready for a very busy day. But I hope this message blesses you. I hope this message gets you thinking. And if you're just like, I'm stuck, let's talk. I offer complimentary consultations. I give you an hour, and it is an opportunity for me to help you break through. And I know I can do it. I know I can do it. I know I can help you harness courage and poema in your life. So thanks everybody for joining me, and have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you very soon.